When a farmer is choosing which fertiliser to put on their soil, he or she needs to think about which elements are going to be needed by the plant and also how much of the weight of that fertiliser is made up of that particular element. Urea, bagged here as you can see in a factory in Russia, is used by farmers to provide nitrogen for the soil. Now on this particular container of urea, it says it's got 46% nitrogen. But if we've only got the formula of a compound, can we work out what percentage of that compound is made up of a particular element? Well, yes, we can by doing a percentage by mass calculation. You need to be able to calculate the percentage by mass of an element in a compound given its formula and the appropriate relative atomic masses. A farmer may have to choose between 5 different fertilizers: potassium nitrate, ammonium phosphate, ammonium sulfate, ammonium nitrate and urea, all nitrogenous fertilizers, and decide which one has got the greatest amount of nitrogen atoms in it, weight for weight by mass. So what should she do? Well, she needs to know a little bit of chemistry and have a calculator at hand. This is roughly what she would do. She'd use a formula a little bit like this, that the percentage by mass is the mass of atoms of an element divided by the relative formula mass, and of course then expressed as a percentage by multiplying that ratio by 100%. One fertilizer she might choose is ammonium nitrate. So the first thing we'd have to do is to work out the relative formula mass of ammonium nitrate. And by looking at the formula, we see that there are 2 lots of nitrogen atoms in each formula, there are 4 lots of hydrogen atoms in each formula, and 3 lots of oxygen atoms in each formula. So the 2 nitrogen atoms will weigh 2 lots of 14, which is 28 units. The 4 hydrogens will weigh 4 lots of 1, which is 4 units. And the 3 oxygens will weigh 3 lots of 16, which is 48 units, making a total of 80. Of this 80, 2 of the nitrogen atoms weigh 28. So the percentage by mass of the nitrogen is the mass of the atoms we're interested in, 28, divided by the relative formula mass, which is 80, times 100%, which comes to 35% nitrogen. Here's a past paper question. What's the total number of atoms shown in this formula of ammonium sulfate? Well, I'd write this down. I'd say that there's 2 nitrogens, that there's 8 hydrogens, because there's 2 lots of 4, there's 1 sulfur, and there's 4 oxygens. And when we add those numbers together, 2 and 8 is 10, and 1 is 11, and 4 is 15. Ammonium nitrate's got a relative formula mass of 80. What's the relative formula mass of ammonium sulfate? Well, we work out the relative formula mass from the formula. Sorry, I obliterated a little bit of it. As we said, it's got 2 nitrogens, which is 2 lots of 14. We add that to the 8 hydrogens, which is 8 lots of 1. We add that to the 1 sulfur, which is 1 lot of 32. And we add that to 4 oxygens, which is 4 lots of 16. When we add these up, it comes to 132. So the relative formula mass is 132. No units, because it's not in grams, it's just in units. We're now told that ammonium nitrate contains 35% by mass of nitrogen. So we haven't had to do that calculation. But what's the percentage by mass of nitrogen in ammonium sulfate? Well, here the percentage by mass is the mass of the nitrogen atoms, which is 2 lots of 14, which is 28, out of the total, which is 132, and then express that as a percentage by multiplying it by 100%. And this comes to 21.2% by mass nitrogen. And here are the answers. I gave mine to 3 significant figures. which seems to be a sensible number of significant figures to give answers to at GCSE. And yes, it accepts 21, but it gives the answer as 21.2 as I did. And another past paper question here. Luke uses the internet to find some information about some salts. Look at the table, it shows the information that Luke finds. How many atoms are there in a formula of lead 2 nitrate? So let's have a look at lead 2 nitrate. It's here. So it's got one lead atom, no numbers after it. It's got one nitrogen in the bracket, but that's been doubled. And then there's 3 oxygens inside the bracket, that's been doubled. So the total number of atoms is 1 lead added to 2 nitrogens added to 6 oxygens comes to a total of 9 atoms. What's the relative formula mass of ammonium phosphate? The one at the top with the rather complicated formula. Okay, well here we've got 3 lots of nitrogen atoms. We've got 12 hydrogen atoms. We've got 1 phosphorus atom, and we've got 4 oxygen atoms. The 3 nitrogen atoms weigh 14 each, gives a total of 42. The 12 hydrogens weigh 1 each, which is a total of 12. The 1 phosphorus is 1 lot of 31, which is 31. And the 4 oxygens is 4 lots of 16, which is 64. If we total those ones up, it comes to 149. So the relative formula mass, or the MR, is 149. We're now asked what's the percentage by mass of phosphorus in that ammonium phosphate. Well, if you remember, we just worked out what the relative formula mass was. We'll just clock that here, 149. And the formula, which was NH4 3 times PO4, has only 1 phosphorus in it, which weighs 31. So therefore the percentage by mass is the mass of phosphorus, which is 31, over the total mass of the molecule, the relative formula mass, 149, expressed then as a percentage by multiplying by 100, and that comes to around figure 20.8% of phosphorus. Here's the answers: 9, the total was 149, and 20.8. They'll allow 21, but I would always recommend you went for 3 significant figures on your calculator.